Hello and welcome to Still Got Legs, a Doctor Who Rewatch podcast brought to you by Another Happy Studios. This week we visit the media of the future, but all is not as it seems. This is The Long Game. I like that. Hello, welcome to whatever this show's called, Still Got Legs. Like I just said, I guess, I don't need to do that here. My name's Nathan, I'm joined by Lawrence. Hi, what are we doing?
Hi, we're doing... You seem like you really want to get into it straight away this week. We're doing The Long Game, episode 7 of season 1 of the revival series of Dr Who.
Look, my brain's mush at the moment. We're recording podcasts out the wazoo, where we don't know what day it is, what year it is. It's all gone affray like a Gallifrey.
Oh, very good. Good
Very
fun.
good indeed. What a great start. You've got a little friend with you for this episode?
I do. So I realised the other day when I was clearing my house out that I have a action figure of Martha Jones.
Martha Jones?
I do indeed. So season 3 and season 4's own Martha. She is wearing her classic flared blue jeans and her red or crimson jacket.
Her signature jacket, I believe.
Yeah, her signature look. She has a few like Walker of the Earth clothes later on.
Walker of the Earth. Okay.
Yeah, but no, this is her signature look. She's also, for anyone that cares, she's got a necklace on and some earrings too.
Oh, great! What a lovely time for everyone that is.
Well, I figured the other week we spent like 10 minutes opening Doctor Who cards. I figured this is interesting to someone out there.
It wasn't 10 minutes. I opened 2 packs, okay? But sure.
Nathan, none of that is important because the face of Bo is pregnant.
The face of Bo is pregnant, which I believe lends to my ideas on the face of Bo. Meaning that they are completely a separate entity from another character who shall remain nameless because they've not appeared in the show yet.
You may be right.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, this is an episode that I didn't remember that bit, Face of Bo canon, because I genuinely think I haven't seen this episode since it came out. I could not recall a single thing that happened other than Simon Pegg was in it.
Well, you said last week on the last episode that you're going into this one pretty much blind because you haven't seen it in so long. Perhaps there's a reason for that.
There could be, Nathan. Yes, I to lend an answer to the question we've always asked on this podcast: if we could watch the show with fresh eyes, without the nostalgia for it, would we like it? And I can undoubtedly answer. Having now seen this episode, essentially for what may as well be the first time, I would assume that this show is straight boring trash.
But are you saying the whole show up until now, or just this episode?
No, this episode. If this was my first experience of Doctor Who, I would be like, well, I'm never looking at that again.
Glowing review for this week's episode from Lawrence.
We'll get into it because there's elements of it. There's, as with a lot of season 1 writing, I think there's great ideas. There's some interesting stuff to mine, but I just think this episode doesn't get even remotely close to doing it justice.
Yeah, there's attempts at ideas here. There's stuff that they were trying to do and trying to say, but did they actually get anywhere with that? No, is the answer.
yeah. Not even a who knows. Not even an optimistic maybe. No, a definitive. I don't think they did. What do you think about this episode? Other than they don't explore anything clearly.
It's not great. It's it's bad, frankly. I don't believe it's helped by the fact that, again, Adam is here, the worst character ever, who just spends the whole episode being, again, just the worst character, proving why he's a dickhead and doesn't belong on the team. I'm glad he's got a big hole in his head now or whatever. So, yeah, I don't like him. I don't like anything.
So, let's start from the beginning.
It cannot even be saved by the charisma of one Simon Pegg.
And I've said this. I have a note that is, imagine if Simon Pegg wasn't in this. My God.
I mean, yeah. I don't think it'd be much, because I don't necessarily think Simon Pegg brings anything to this, so I don't even think it'd be much different, to be honest. It would just be, I guess, obviously less enjoyable because it'd be less Simon Pegg. But...
I think he naturally brings the charm of Simon Pegg.
Yes.
Without that, if this was just another random actor from 2005 BBC, it would be no fun whatsoever. There's at least little moments in this where he's interacting with the Doctor that I can be kind of interested in. But anyway, look, where are we? Where's the setting? What's going on?
It is the fourth great and bountiful human empire. A vague amount of time into the future. Maybe they said it, I didn't pay attention. But it's a set amount of time into the future. Humanity is thriving. There's all these great cultures and civilizations living on Earth. There's megacities. There's 90 billion humans or whatever. We got this great corporation dealing out the news. One corporation in charge of all the news. That seems good, like a good idea. Nothing could go wrong there. And hey, you can get yourself a Kronk burger with cheese.
You can. Served by a man in a very 2005's London fish and chips hat.
And serving to some very 2005 people with very 2005 hairstyles. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's a good time for it to be 2005.
Yeah, it's... So, right. Where are you at with, like, the setting of this? Do you find this interesting?
Yeah, it's kind of, yes. It's interesting that, you know, well, I'm always interested if we're going off to far off distant futures. Again, last week we was treated to the far off distant future of 2012, and that was great. I loved that. This week we're going slightly further into the future. And yes, again, love all that stuff. Love going into the future because it's always interesting to see what's different, what's changed, what are we going to end up like, and all this sort of stuff. Here they add the interesting wrinkle that, you know, they're supposed to be like when they land, the Doctor, Rose is basically saying that, you know, this is where we are, all these great civilizations are here and stuff. But then that turns out not to be the case, mainly because of budget. Because they couldn't do all these aliens. So they're like, oh no, let's just make everyone human and say something's gone wrong. But, you know, clearly prejudice and racism is still at hand here. Like I said, there's interesting ideas that have a start, that are seeded, but they don't necessarily grow into anything, really. Yeah. It's all just a little trickle, really.
I think one of my big things of this, because it got to, I paused this at a certain point. What I thought was, you know, maybe like 20 minutes in. Turns out I had 10 minutes of the episode left to go. and that kind of cemented the point that my brain was struggling to connect the dots, I should say. But basically, I think this spends way too long on the mystery setup.
Yes.
Of what's going on, because the Doctor and Rose are walking around with the other woman who is there, who seems to want her promotion quite a lot. Is her name mentioned?
Kathika.
Let's call her. I was going to say catheter. Let's call her Kathika. So she's walking around, and there's a lot of probing. There's a lot of what you typically get in the first 10 minutes of a Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
But that just goes on here.
Yeah, this is where we are. This is how things work here. You know this because you've got a psychic paper, but let me tell you anyway. Yeah. Here's everything you need to know. Let me give you a demonstration of how this works. Let me do all this sort of stuff.
That being said, I do like it, and it's kind of become already a recurring thing in the series, but it obviously goes on to become one as well. I like the fact that the Doctor just tends to go with the path of least resistance whenever he arrives somewhere. Like, I like how they go, "Are you with the inspection team?" And he's like, "I am, yeah. No flies on you. You caught me."
Yeah,
yeah, and it's just like, yeah, that's like, why wouldn't you do that? But when I say that's the thing I like, it's one of the few things I like about this episode. Like, I'm finding crumbs here.
Yes. One thing I don't like, and there's a lot, but again, Adam, this episode seems to open up with the notion that Rose and Adam are just straight up in a relationship now. or whatever.
Yeah, it turned my head a little bit. There's a straight up line from the Doctor.
He's your boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Neither do I. I think Mickey might have something to say about that.
I like to think it's mainly like, you know, the Ninth Doctor is like Rose speaks to any man, and he's like, "Oh, you humans." He immediately like lumps her in with someone.
Yeah.
I think it might just be a bit of that, but then like later on, Adam's like, "Oh, it would take a better man than me to get in between you and the Doctor," and I'm like, "Well, firstly, you're absolutely right because you're terrible. Yes. You got no chance, but also very presumptuous of you to be like, maybe that's what I'm doing here." I think Rose more just took pity on him because he wanted to see the world.
I think that's more likely. I really don't like Adam, and he's not a good actor as well.
No, he's not.
He's really not good. I mentioned last week he's now I believe he's on Coronation Street, or he was within the last 4 years. Whenever I last watched Coronation Street at my mum's house or whatever.
Yeah.
And I believe that is a show that is more suited to his
chops.
His chops, shall we say. He's more at home on a Coronation Street than aboard the TARDIS.
Yeah, because this episode kind of introduces, I mean, maybe the seeds are sown in Dalek a little bit, or like hints are given, but this episode puts him in a far more like cunning and sinister position.
He's straight up a dick. Yeah.
Yeah, like he manipulates Rose into kind of getting the TARDIS key, and also manipulates Rose into kind of being like, oh yeah, he steals her phone outright, and then is like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna go and relax somewhere, but obviously goes off to try and find information. Like,
yeah,
what I think I don't like about Adam is that I don't get him. Like, why does he want to do it? Like, stick with the Doctor, you're gonna find out a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Than you going off and just trying to talk your way through things you don't understand.
So he can get the entire history of the microchip, and then, well, I guess, go back to 2012 and be like, I'm making the microchip, or whatever. Are you? How are you doing that?
Yeah, and it's just, he's a nerd, isn't he? Like, he's just a big loser.
He's a big loser. Probably thinks he's going to be the next Elon Musk, but hey.
Probably wants to be as well.
What a great guy. I have a question. Welcome back to my famous segment, Nathan Nitpicks a Thing in Doctor Who.
Yep.
A thing that you're not supposed to nitpick because it doesn't matter, who cares, but I care and I can't let it go, so I'm going to nitpick a thing. How does the phone thing work? Because Rose is from 2005. And the Doctor set up the phone for her to be able to call 2005, so it's parallel with her timeline, so she can speak with Jackie, whatever. Adam is from 2012. We're led to believe that when he used the phone, it called to 2012, and he was able to leave a message. But how does the phone know?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Oh, good. Okay, well then, thank you for correcting me. No, I think, because I'm pretty sure I remember the Doctor sonicking it and saying, now calls anywhere in time and space. So I don't think it's specifically rooted to 2005, but then, to give you your credit, the phone still doesn't know when it's supposed to be calling.
Exactly. How do you know? Like, all they're doing is dialing a number. They're not putting in a specific year code or anything. He even says, is there a code? And she's like, just dial, you dickhead. What's wrong with you?
I think then that is probably the show acknowledging, doesn't make sense. Shut up.
Yeah, well, I don't like it, so I'm going to nitpick that thing.
Nathan Nitpicks is the new segment.
There you go. Anyway, that was Nathan Nitpicks a Thing for this week.
That's fair.
Which I don't like. Yes, there's all kinds of news going on. The Doctor, Rose, and fucking Cunty McGee, they're getting a tour of the Satellite 5, a place which will come back later on in the series. And
be far more interesting as well.
Yes. And we're seeing all kind of news events. We've alluded to it already, but one of them is the face of Bo is pregnant. I do not believe Jack Harkness has the facilities to get pregnant, Lawrence. Your thoughts on this revelation?
My thoughts are, and you've already alluded to it, the media is exclusively run by one company, as we've seen, and also, more to the point, it's proven to be an incredibly corrupt and baseless fact-feeding media corporation.
Interesting.
So, my argument, Nathan, to quote your favourite president, would be fake news.
Okay. Well, I take umbrage with that, good sir. I would agree with most of what you said there. And
the president stuff.
No, that's the specific part which I would not agree with.
I understand.
But no, that's actually a good point. Yes, the media do lie and control and change the narrative to fit their own sort of stuff. And this media is run by a big, giant...
Jaffa Cake.
Angry clitoris or whatever the fuck he is.
It does look a bit like a slimy bellend, doesn't it?
It doesn't look great, whatever it is. It's just... I don't know. It's bad.
Poor design.
Poor design. It's an all CG creature, which for 2005, first of all, is ambitious.
Yeah.
Especially for a show on his first season with a budget of £10.50, it's very ambitious.
Also, one of the things in this, one of the kind of the hills I can't get over in this, you got Simon Pegg,
yeah,
right? Big at this point, still for doing Spaced, right?
Yeah,
he's still.
Oh, he'll have done Shaun of the Dead at this point. No, Hot Fuzz was the next year, but yeah, he'll have done Shaun of the Dead. So
like a prolific name in drama comedy.
Yes.
Right? He's good. So why don't you just make him the evil guy? Because, like, firstly, you're going to save money. Secondly, he can do stuff.
Why do we need to have this weird middleman role where he's like, oh, he's in charge, but I'm his butler or whatever? Fuck. Like, why?
It takes away all of his menace because everything he's doing is for the big penis on the roof. And it's just kind of, but then also like we don't get subtitles for what the penis on the roof is saying. We don't know what it wants.
He just growls, and then Simon Pegg will sometimes be like, "Ah, yes, sir. You're right, sir." Like,
yeah,
all right.
And for those of you that have only heard our thoughts on Doctor Who and not anything else, Nathan and I are fans when the famous example is Chewbacca and Han Solo.
Yes,
we like it when a speaking character can communicate with someone that just exclusively growls, and you get that, grr, no, I'm not going to do that. Why don't you do that? Grr, because I did it last time, or whatever. Like, stuff like that, right? We like that stuff, but here it just doesn't work, because we can understand what Chewbacca wants through some sort of context, but we have no idea what this penis in the roof wants.
No, it's all just vague. Like, what is the plan here? What's the villainous plot? I guess it's media control and, shaping the fucking empire and stuff. But, like, what ultimately are they doing?
They seem to be going through the motions, and then they get interested in the TARDIS key and Time Lords and stuff like that.
They want to rewrite news and control the narrative and shit. It's all just very mustache twirly and, villainous villains and... It's not great. Like, this is my issue with it, because there is seeds of good stuff. Like, the idea of one corporation controlling all media and, like, how that can then shape the fucking literal planet Earth and the Empire and what humanity has become and all that sort of stuff. That's all really interesting. The problem is it's just not explored. It's just like a bit of context to the present situation, but then that's it. It's not really dealt with any further than that. Then from that point on, then it's just ha ha ha, we're evil and we're going to do bad things because we're evil.
And I think that's one of the worst things about this episode as well, is it's in an episode that is exclusively set up and almost relentlessly context. I still don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Or why any of it's happening. And you're right. The idea of a singular corporation owning and distributing everything is really interesting. Anyway, Doctor Who coming soon to Disney. But like, what I don't understand is why there's so. I mean, obviously now we live in a world where that's an extremely relevant thing to talk about, and 2005 maybe less so. But there's so many avenues it could be explored. But you're right, it does just divulge into evil time now.
It's just silly mustache twirling, and now here's a thing, and I'm bad, and let's put the Doctor and Rose in this terrible looking handcuff system with just vague Hoover tubes coming off it, and it looked so bad.
It did, yeah.
Like, I get the budget is small, but that looked atrocious.
Tie them up in anything. What I like, the most effective one that I remember is the one in Journey's End, where Davros just goes, "You're stuck. You're stuck in the mud." And they go, "Oh man!" And like a light is surrounding them, and that's about it.
Yeah, they got the light shields or whatever.
Yeah, but to put them in this kind of weird, vague 2005 Hoover bondage situation is just kind of, it just didn't look great. I will give the episode credit for being ahead of its time in identifying newcomers to the satellite as multi-sex, undecided, or robot.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Bit progressive, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's more than the BBC were willing to do.
Yes. I mean, the language is a bit okay, but the effort was there. So
yeah,
hey,
we were headed in the right direction.
Yeah, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah.
So well done.
Famously, I guess the best way. Like, thanks, I guess.
What else? I don't even know what else. What else you got?
I liked the concept of the chip, the kind of the inhibitor situation in their head, and I'm not talking necessarily about the one that Adam gets where you snap your fingers and out comes the brain hole thing.
Okay.
I'm talking more the chip that allows the smaller one that she explains, and that allows people to kind of access computers rather than be the computer.
Yes.
And I quite liked that all of the people taken up to level 500 were essentially just dead, but had been essentially wired up to still run stuff. And I just thought that was such a I thought it was such an interesting concept of like how when it gets to, and basically a nice metaphor for if all you do is digest and consume news from one source, it gets to the point where you may as well just be a fact repeating machine that is essentially everyone's fucking like the age old tale of the drunk uncle at Christmas that gets all this stuff from Fox News or like some sort of UK equivalent, right? Where they're just spouting off shit they have no idea about, but Tucker Carlson told them to get fucking wound up, so they did.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting concept. It lost all of its credibility when they got up and were the bodyguards for the episode, like when they became the henchmen. And I was like, no, because you're dead bodies. The metaphor worked because you were dead, but you could still serve a function. Your human life wasn't necessary.
Look, they're always gonna need vague henchmen in Doctor Who, Lawrence. Like they got to take those where they can get them.
Yeah, but that's what they had the Hoover bondage for.
But how are they going to get them into the Hoover bondage, Lawrence? Think it through.
Silly me. If only Simon Pegg was a villain that did stuff.
No, you're right. I do like that. They essentially become a cog in the machine, really. Just use up, spout out, and repeat these facts over and over again until their body just decomposes, and then they get replaced with the next lot. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's the start of interesting. Again, this is the issue. It's the start of something. It's just not followed through in any meaningful way. And in this case, like I say, it's even just ruined by the whole henchman situation. So, yeah, it's really just a big misstep. This whole episode, isn't it? It's just.
I think it's a lot of wasted potential. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I again, these were likely filmed out of order. I genuinely think this is as close to filler as it gets.
Yeah.
And I also think that the fact that it's widely considered filler and also it shares a set with another big, more expensive episode of Doctor Who, that can't be a coincidence.
Well, not just a set, a setting.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Like they literally come back to Satellite 5 later. Yeah, maybe the whole thing is just here to be like, I remember this place. And,
which is a shame. I'll be honest, this is the first, like, this was the first chore to get through for me. Like, The Unquiet Dead, we spoke about how it was
this is worse than The Unquiet Dead.
Yeah, and we spoke about how that was a bit naff, but at least there's enough Doctor Who-isms to just, there's enough kind of whimsy 2005 charm to get you through it.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it just seemed like there wasn't anything going on. No new revelations for the Doctor. Nothing. No real interesting performances, which is crazy
Nothing
considering
really,
Simon Pegg.
Nothing really going on with Rose. She's just kind of there this episode. The most she has to do here is the whole situation with Adam and all that sort of stuff, and it's boring, really.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. And
what did you make of the kind of the identity that does get figured out? Suki is actually a not a kind of meek, mild person that works there, but rather a fighter for either the Freedom Federation or Foundation or something, she says, that are working to investigate Satellite 5.
Fuck she is.
Yeah, well, she's one of the Power Rangers. She's here.
One of the Power Rangers. I don't know. Not much thought on it, to be honest. Fine, I guess. It was certainly
needless for me.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Because again, nothing happens with it. They're like, oh, that person's not supposed to be here. Let's get her up here and get rid of her. Then she comes up and she's like, I've got a gun on you. I'm actually this secret agent person or whatever. Then they're just like, nah, let's just put you in the machine. And it's like,
yeah,
okay. Did this change anything? Did this? No. Great. Good stuff.
Firstly, don't get me started on that gun, because it was the most pew pew sound effect I've ever heard. With I know that there has been a lot of technological leaps since then, but 2005 is still capable of better than that.
Yeah.
Look what Star Wars were doing in the 70s, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But the other thing I thought to myself was kind of rooting the main antagonist as a big in the roof penis villain.
Yeah.
The episode goes to extreme lengths to be like, he can't leave this room. He's
got to be cold.
Yeah, he's got to be cold. And firstly, he's got to be cold, and secondly, he's like, Simon Pegg makes a thing about like how it took him ages to get him up there or something. So like, first I'm just imagining what that day looked like for him. Just kind of him like scooping up bits of penis blob and like taping it. Is he blue tacked? What's going on?
I don't know.
But the other thing I got is like, you've got a gun, go outside of the room, because we've seen it has different rooms.
Yeah.
Go outside of the room, stand in the threshold where the big penis monster can't eat you, or try and eat you, shoot Simon Pegg, and then just at least offload into the penis roof thing and see what happens.
Yeah, from a safe distance.
It's just baffling.
The whole thing is baffling. I'll be honest, I have really not much more to say on this episode, so this could be a bit of a shorter episode. Fuck it. Look, it's not great. I would not say skip it, because I don't think there is a single episode of New Who that you should skip, no matter how dire they get. And trust me, they do get pretty dire at some point. But you should still carry on through it. Let it be one of those silly little episodes that you watch but just don't come back to. It's all part of and look, if you do skip it, you're missing out on some of the very little content with the Ninth Doctor that you get. So take all that you can, because he's not around for long.
That's a good point, to be fair. And I will say,
and he was a bit of fun as well. It's always fun to see the Doctor just milling about, having a bit of.
If in a more positive note, I guess if there's one thing this episode did do, I liked Rose and Nine's relationship. They seem to be very locked in.
Yeah.
And I like that like the Doctor is way more comfortable being like, I only take the best. That's why I've got Rose with me. Like,
they've got a good rapport going at this point.
Yeah. But I mean, again, if 7 episodes in, if this is anyone's comfort show for Doctor Who, or if this is anyone's like, I like this, I'm enjoying this. We aim to be positive, but be fair on this one. Like, it's just not a good episode.
There's not a lot to it. I don't believe this is anyone's comfort episode, because, I mean, hey, we all have weird comfort episodes, but who's this comforting? Yeah. Anyway, what else do we do on this show?
You play the theme. Go on.
Oh yeah.
Weirdo of the Week.
friends, welcome to Weirdo of the Week, everyone's favourite segment of Still Got Legs. It's the segment where we take a look at the weird and grubby and wonderful little characters that grace our television screens each week as we're watching Doctor Who. We like to talk about and celebrate the weird characters that stood out to us. So, Lawrence, who is your Weirdo of the Week?
My Weirdo of the Week, again, we're having a few in a row, which are slim pickings, to be fair, aren't we?
Yes.
My one, it was originally gonna be Tasmin Gregg from Friday Night Dinner. If you've seen that show,
I have seen Friday Night Dinner.
So the person that installs the head thing on Adam is the mum from Friday Night Dinner.
Oh, she's the mum, isn't she? I thought she seemed familiar.
Well, it was gonna be her because she gets like. There's a moment where she kind of seems a bit excited to like she seems way too into her job, basically.
She's earning that commission.
She is, and she's selling it like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her because at one point she gets a bit excited about the unlimited credit situation, and I thought it'd be wrong to choose yet another horny person for Weirdo of the Week.
Oh no. I
have instead just gone for Adam because I just think you are years in the future. You are standing next to two time travelers, and your main ambition and dream and goal for life, as you stated in the previous episode, is to just get out there and see the stars. You are never going to get this opportunity again, and you spend the entire episode calling your mum and dad's crusty voicemail and leaving them white noise that is apparently going to translate something that Bill Gates did 20 years prior. Like, you're a fucking weirdo, you're a nerd, and the Doctor was right to bin you off.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Interesting. My Weirdo of the Week is similar, related. My Weirdo of the Week is, of course, Adam's dog. I like to imagine that when Adam was just, like I say, leaving that voicemail, which was obviously indiscernible to anyone, and almost probably indiscernible to Adam himself, when he gets back there, when he was leaving that voicemail and the weird blue light was coming out of the phone, however that worked, and the dog was jumping up at the table trying to see what was going on, I like to imagine some of that knowledge got into the dog, and now that dog knows the entire history of the microprocessor or whatever, and is just burdened with knowledge of how these computers and machines work, but is cursed in that he cannot express it in any way because he is a dog. So
there we go, everyone. The most interesting aspect of this episode was the bit that we made up 20 years after it came out. In one of the early episodes of a podcast that we have just started.
So there we go. Good stuff.
Very good stuff.
Anyway, wrap this up, Lauren.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We tend to try
next week's going to be more fun. Look, next week is a banger. It's Father's Day. We're going to have a great daddy time.
Fun fact about Father's Day. Again, an episode I haven't seen for at least 15 years.
Ooh.
But I remember it being an all-timer.
A banger, if there ever was one. Well, we'll see. Maybe not.
Maybe not. If it's anything like this. Oh, boy. Thank you very much for listening. We try and be a bit more positive than this. But obviously we will... This has been the first dud. We will come across more duds. But never rest. We are genuinely fans of the show, so we look forward to more good times.
They can't all be winners, unfortunately.
No. But sadly not. So if you have enjoyed this, new episodes go out every single Monday at 10 a.m. You can give us a little follow. We're on Twitter at StillGotLegsPod.
Yes.
So give us a little follow there. Also, let us know what you think about the show if you're enjoying it. Share it around with your mates because it's still a new show, so we're trying to get some traction going. And give us a goddamn review, Nathan. Tell them how.
Yeah, you just go to your app of choice where you listen to your podcast, your preferred platform, and then you go to the rating section, 5 stars or more. Perhaps your app allows for 10 stars, 2 thumbs up, 1 big dick, whatever the rating system is. Give us the top one and let us know what you thought. Leave a little review of sorts, and we'll be happy that you did.
If one big dick is the highest rating, is it like a small? Is it the scale? Is it the size of the dick that is the rating?
It's one big dick is the highest rating, and then just like one grubby little chode.
So it's not the number. It could be. So it's not like 5 big dicks.
It's all about size. This is like a size queen's platform.
I see.
Yeah.
A grubby little chode, did you say?
Grubby little chode.
So no grubby chodes, please, for us.
No grubby chodes for this show. What's happening here?
I don't know. There's already enough grubby little chodes in Simon Pegg's ceiling or whatever.
This is supposed to be more of the family-friendly podcast.
It is, isn't it?
Come on, for God's sake. Anyway, thanks for listening to whatever this was. We will see you next week as we talk all things daddy. Until then, I've been Nathan. He's been Lawrence. This has been Still Got Legs.